According to so many statistics out there today, up to 40% of Americans, but in my private practice, I'm going to say it's more like 65%, struggle with anxiety on a daily basis. You know, what's going to happen in the future with the money situation? What's going to happen with our relationship? You know, why is it that the individuals from the past keep bugging me? Why do I keep thinking about people that did me wrong in the past? You know, all of these type of things are running through our brain left and right. And as we go through these years that are so very, very different than many of the years that we have gone through before, one of the things that comes up is that, hey, there's got to be a solution to these thoughts of anxiety. There's got to be some things we can do to minimize thoughts of anxiety. And I'm going to teach you something today called reframing anxious thoughts. And this is a crucial, powerful way to change our thought process, to remove the rumination about money and health and body and relationships and the world and the presidential stuff that's going on, all these kind of things, right? We have to be on top of them. We've got to be able to reframe them. Most clients that come to me when they're struggling with depression or anxiety or any other thing, they have ruminating thoughts going on a regular basis. You know, I'm always anxious on a daily. I wake up with anxiety in my stomach. David, I'm anxious about my financial future. David, I'm anxious about what's going on with my child. I don't know what to do next. David, I don't know if our relationship is going to make it. I'm really anxious. When I work with professional athletes, you know, I have an athlete that I'm working with right now that kept talking about, you know, when he got to a certain point in his competition, he would feel angst. Angst is another word for anxiety, right? And so we had to work with him, and we worked with him, and it worked perfectly. We reframed the word angst. We took that word out. We take the word anxiety out. And we don't say, you know, I'm anxious about the future. I'm anxious about my money. I'm anxious about paying rent today. We reframe them. Now, this may sound crazy to some people, but it really works. So here's an example of reframing. So we have an anxiety about the future. Instead of saying, no, I'm really anxious about what's going on with my job in the future, we reframe it to something like this. And it has to be in writing to have power. You know, I'm really curious about what's going to happen with my job in the next 6 months. Period. That's it. That's a complete reframe. That's taking all the emotional angst and worry and everything else about what's going on with my job in 6 months, and all of a sudden we're reframing it. Hey, I'm curious. What's going on in the next 6 months with my career, with this company, with my job? Now, here's something fascinating. When you take away, I'm anxious about my future with this company, and you replace it with, I'm curious as to where this might go, the brain automatically starts thinking differently. Instead of negatively and worry, it starts to think of solutions. And just think if you said that every day, you know, I'm really curious about what's going to happen with my job, this company, this career. It will then eventually move you into action, right? If you're curious about something, we want to find out what the answer would be. So it may even after you do this for a week or a month, you may decide, you know, I'm going to go in and talk to my supervisor, my boss, my manager, the president of the company, whatever it might be, and say, hey, I've had these thoughts, just curious, you know, where do you see me in 6 months? Where do you see the company in 6 months? In other words, we take that anxiety and we push it away and we put curiosity into it, and that could lead to anxious steps. What about, you know, I'm really anxious that my drinking is increasing. I'm anxious that I'm drinking on a regular basis, or I'm anxious that I'm starting to drink much more on weekends. Well, let's utilize curiosity. Yeah, I'm curious, what's going on with me? Why am I drinking more on weekends? I'm curious, why it's a Wednesday night. Why am I out drinking this much on a Wednesday night? So curiosity opens up the doorway for healing. And let's say you write that down on paper. You know, I'm curious as to why I've started to drink more on weekends. I wonder what's going on. And then just start writing what comes to mind. You may find the answer right away, or you may work with a professional and find the answer. Once you find the origin of the dysfunction, once you find the reason that you're drinking more, then you can start to say, I was curious about why I was drinking more. I found the answer now. I'm curious, how do I switch this belief system that I need alcohol to have fun, that I need alcohol to... I'm curious of how to switch the belief system to, I need alcohol to fall asleep. What about food? Oh my gosh. You know, I always overeat. I'm always stopping and getting junk food. I'm telling myself I'm not going to do it anymore, but I do it every day. I've gained 25 pounds. I've gained 100 pounds, and we stop. And we say, I'm really curious, you know, why am I increasing my food intake? I'm curious as to why I'm eating more junk food. I'm curious as to why I really don't care about my body. I mean, I say that I've gained 100 pounds, but why aren't I doing anything about it? I'm curious as to why I'm in this situation. That curiosity could lead you to Google online answers. Why would people overeat? Of course, one of the major reasons is going to be that we are submerging our emotions. We have low self-confidence, low self-esteem. We're not dealing with life. We're procrastinating. And so all of those statements I just made would increase the food intake, because food is a drug and the right type of foods can numb those emotions. I hope this helps. There's so much anxiety in this world. Reframing it to being curious at some point, a week, 6 months later, can lead to action steps to remove whatever is anxious, whatever the addiction is, whatever the worry is. Because everything is so crazy right now, I'm offering everyone a free 20-minute session on the phone. Just go to the website, davidessel.com or talkdavid.com. To the contact us page, send us a button, a little email that says, hey, I'd like my free 20-minute session with David. We can do a lot in 20 minutes. And they will set it up ASAP. And also don't forget, at the same website, 5 of our top 16 best-selling books, absolutely free. There could be answers there too to change our mindset. Let's do it together. I'm David Essel. Have a beautiful day.